All right, so this one is picking up some wind here, and according to Albert Breer, the Houston Texans sniffing around on a potential trade situation. All right, so when I look over here, this is the draft day trade ideology. Texans receive 2025 first-round draft pick. That's number 12 overall, and the Cowboys will receive 2025 first round draft pick of the Texans, which will be the 25th pick, and then they will receive the second round draft pick from the Texans, and that is the 58th pick, and next year's second round draft pick. Now, first and foremost, I'm thinking that the Cowboys shouldn't, but this could be a real thing only if Tet is gone, Ashton Genty is gone, right? Who else, far as that you can see that you would like with that 12th overall pick, right? If either of those guys are gone, and if tags are touching, the Cowboys literally said that they had about 17 to 18 first-round true grades, right? But moving back to the 25th spot and picking up an extra second-round draft pick, maybe, just maybe, you have now more darts to throw at with top 100 players. The name of the game is to try to get as many top 100 players on your board, right? And if the Cowboys do such, I think that this would be pretty much a no-brainer at this point. If we look back at everything, what the Cowboys tend to do, shout out to Jeremy for putting this out there. And if you are seeing in a heartbeat from some of my guys, D.A. Lee, he said this team doesn't value free agency, so they're forced to hit on the draft basically and selectively aggressive. That will work. And G from Jersey says, in a heartbeat, this would be a great deal for Dallas. Yep. So if everybody's saying, even Prince saying, F it, man, I'll go with it. So a lot of people, man, my guy Triple Double CEO says if Genty and McMillan is gone, then I can trade to the 32nd. I don't care. So when you look at everything, most people saying that this particular draft is not a super high-end draft far as a definitive, this is your number one draft pick, right? Now, Travis Hunter is up there. Abdul Carter, to a degree, is up there, as well as Cam Ward. Your definitive, hey, this is a top 10 pick. Of course, you can put Ashton Genty in there, and that depending on how you value your running backs, right? Because there's an argument to be made with Ashton Genty and Omarion Hampton, right? And there's so many things. Far as this offensive line groupings, yes, you have the Will Campbells of the world, who really nice, right? You have Mason Graham. But I've seen arguments that Kevin Banks better than Will Campbell to a degree. Armand Membu, oh, he's good. He's just as good as those boys. Now, Kevin Banks, out of all of those boys, I think he is strong. He lifted that 225 31 times, and I don't think Williams nor Banks did that, or Tyler Booker. So, and we talking about offensive linemen that normally takes 2 to 3 years to come around, right? And in other classes, like last year class, I don't know if you put Fashanu into the mix of these particular guys, where he will be drafted at. It's so many layers to this thing as it relates to Cowboys drafting. And one can argue that there's a group of wide receivers. Burden, right? He's in that group. Matthew Golden, he's in that group. Emeka. So all three of those wide receivers are in that group. So will you be willing to move back to pick up an extra player? This is a running back deep class. So with that extra second round draft pick, maybe you can double dip still early in the running back room, right? Or get that wide receiver that you really like, But it's so many red areas, or gray areas is a better way to say it, with this particular team. Now, what's more intriguing about this, and let me pull this back up again, what's more intriguing about all of this, ladies and gentlemen, will be the fact that the Cowboys can get the Texans next year's second, right? Banking on, if the Texans fall flat on their face, that's an early second-round draft pick, and we'll be set up for a good situation. Remember, we trying to collect as many top 100 picks as possible. There's so many things that we can pull upon with this. Now, my stance on it, if you see a player that you really love versus like, then you go up and get that player. The war room is supposed to be the war room for a reason, right? And as they say, it don't supposed to be a peace room. So you're supposed to bang on the table on who you absolutely actually want, right? And that could be the situation and scenario there. Cowboy Nation, post me your thoughts, post me your concerns down below. That's all the time that I have for this moment. Of course, we did hear storylines and news of my guy being back in the building, and his name is Gilly. I think that Stephon Gilmore, I think that he would bring a lot to the table if the Cowboys circle the block back for him. I think that could be a real reasonable thing, right? And also in other news, the Cowboys, James Slater shot down the ideology. Hey, Zeke, get out of the way. Zeke, what's Zeke going up there, man? I guess it was the old footage. But James Slater shot down the ideology of the Cowboys having any interest in Sutton. But I want to bring up Gilly because Gilly is one of those guys that we know for sure that we can say to ourselves that if Gilly comes to the Dallas Cowboys, it would alleviate a lot of things that we have with Carson. Seatbelt, and somebody asks, hey, were there a recall on the seatbelts, seatbelt Carsons, but I would say, and Kalen Carson, that's his full name, this would help him out. Just like Stephon Gilmore was able to alleviate a few things, even in training and practicing with Deron Bland, I think that he can do the same for my guy, Kalen Carson's, right? You need veteran guys. Not saying that he's a world beater, but this would be a good situation for the boys. Post me your thoughts. Post me your concerns. Cowboys, Texans, possible trade situation, whereas they get our 12th, right? And we get their 25th pick, and then we also scoop up their 58th pick in next year's second. Post me your thoughts on that. DC for life, not for short. That's been my time. I really thank you all for yours. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the best. Go Cowboys. Peace. We out.